In a studio that's in a basement comes the epic story of how two friends changed the future of the movie podcast game forever. The reviews are in. Boys Life magazine gives the High Sci podcast 4.5 acorns. The Daily Bugle says, these guys are super legit. And Pope Francis declares the podcast as life-affirming. From the kid who tried to get smart with David Spade and got fucking old.
You're still out. You're still back.
And the guy who can name all four Baldwin brothers.
Alec, William, Daniel, and the baby boy, Stephen.
Live from the studio of his parents' basement. The Have You Seen It podcast.
For me, has made me more, I was nervous when we first started out.
Oh, definitely. You're so nervous when you first start a
Oh,
podcast.
yeah.
It's a big deal. And then you hear your voice for the first time, and
Oh.
you're like, oh, there's nothing worse than that.
No, it's horrible.
Nothing worse.
No. But yeah.
That's something you got to get over eventually.
But man, after it probably took 100 episodes.
Yeah.
Before I started feeling
Really
like,
getting in the groove and
I'm
feeling
not,
comfortable with it.
like it was an imposter or something. But yeah, it's so weird because it's like you're down here, no one else,
Nope.
no one's listening to you.
No. This is
mean-
you and I having a conversation about
Yeah.
movies week after week, and then people listen to it after the fact.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it still makes you nervous. And
is.
even when we ask people to come on, they are fucking
People are nervous.
scared.
They're really scared. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, it's just us here.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, no one's actually watching live, and that's kind of the good thing is, like, that's how you look at it. You know, it's just
But the
you and I
fact
down
that
here.
people will eventually be watching, that's what scares people,
Yeah.
you know? It's like, I don't want to say something stupid, and then people have that forever. I mean,
totally.
they get, for all we know, some guy could be playing this shit backwards at our funerals. Like, let's not forget they
pulling
said
out
this.
every stupid thing we say, yeah. Which is a
Let's
lot.
not praise
It's a
these
lot.
guys too fast, which I don't know why that guy would be so mean at our
I
funeral.
don't know. I was just very
Some
vindictive.
guy who just hated both of us.
for some reason.
Finally getting back at us, and then
It's like I finally got the revenge.
yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's some weird, but yeah.
But kind of the reason why we're reminiscing is we hit 2 big milestones.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we did. I mean, for us, as far as we have consistently been getting over 100 views on YouTube
Yeah.
for our content on our Have You Seen It podcast channel. So that's really cool.
That's awesome
For
for
us,
us, for
yeah.
sure. Yeah, it
we
probably sounds like
started out-
nothing for anyone else, but
Yeah,
for
for
us,
me- yeah.
that's awesome for us. Yeah, and we got 60 subscribers, which is a ton, but it's awesome for us. It's
Yeah, and then they're consistent fans too. Like
Yeah.
you guys consistently watch the podcast, so like we really do appreciate it.
yeah, it's awesome.
It's awesome.
You guys, some people were the OGs, and we'll get you back for it. We'll
Yeah, we'll get
remember.
you- yeah.
We don't
We're gonna be
forget.
giving
We don't-
away a few things when we hit 100 subs, so
Yeah.
stay tuned for that.
And
We're
we
gonna give
won't,
away a
yeah,
few.
we won't forget who was the first ones out there, the real, the true, not these fake bandwagon people.
No.
Because once we hit it big, I mean, there's gonna be people just latching on. You know,
Definitely.
people just riding the trend. You know, they just want to be
Can
a
you
part of
blame 'em?
something.
They want to be a part of it.
But we'll know. We'll know the real ones. We always do. But yeah, so that's awesome for us though.
It is.
I mean, don't mean to toot our own horn, but
Well, but
I
it's
mean-
even awesome, like for the other people too, like for the people who do like continually listen to us. It's like a thank you to them.
oh yeah.
Because without them, I mean, it'd just be you and I talking and no one else listening.
Now we'll just be. That's just makes us crazy people.
It does. It does. If
We're
no
just
one
down here
listens, we're
talking
just
to
crazy,
ourselves, and
yeah.
that's just crazy people. Yeah.
Just recording our conversations like we're Nixon or something, you know? Just strange.
Oh, good Nixon dig, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very relevant.
It was relevant
To now you're getting it. Now
You get it now.
You didn't necessarily didn't catch it when you did, but
I
I'm
didn't-
here to
I
tell
didn't.
you did. Because Nixon is fucking. I mean, that's
in the 60s.
It's the 60s, and what else takes place in the 60s, Mason Knight?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the Quentin Tarantino film that we are here reviewing today on the Have You Seen It podcast.
Finally, is
Was that good?
Oh, that was fucking great.
Thank you.
Like I said, you know, we're
Getting
getting
better.
Good.
We're getting
good.
better
We're getting good.
continually.
But yeah, is this not my most anticipated movie of the year? Have I not? I mean,
we have, yeah. I mean, I can remember you sharing a photo to me, I think back in
an
October of
on-set
2018.
photo, of Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt and Leo.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
man.
yes.
I mean, I'm myself. I am just one of the biggest fucking Quentin Tarantino fanboys. I brought in the poster.
You did. You brought in the
We
Reservoir
gotta
Dogs
point it
poster.
out. We gotta point it
I
out.
hope we're on the wide shot right now. There it is.
There we go.
There it is.
There it is.
Reservoir Dogs. I'll even zoom in. I'll do a little quick shot there.
Nice.
There it is on
Good.
the YouTube right there.
Check that baby. That's an original, baby. That's an
is.
original. But yeah, so I was looking forward to this film for a very long time. I was right on the cuff of it when it was revealed what it was going to be. The ninth and second to last.
Yes. Supposedly.
What they say.
Allegedly.
What they say of the Quentin Tarantino franchise. And this is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, starring Brad Pitt, starring Leo, and pretty much starring anyone who's ever acted in anything. Would you say that?
I would say that, definitely.
There is so many goddamn cameos.
It almost felt like Fear and Loathing with so many cameos, sprinkled throughout this film.
He's really gotten to the point where it must be so fucking nice. It's gotta be nice. I mean, it's what every filmmaker that I'm guessing was ever wanted is where
everyone wants to work with
even
you.
Even if it's the smallest part. They're like, I'll do 2 lines. I'll be the fucking mailman in the background.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. I mean, it's people that won Oscars as anyone. Quentin Tarantino is so desired and sought after now. It's fucking people want to be a part of anything.
Right.
I think they just want to be around him for a couple of days and say
totally.
that they were part of whatever that is that he has. But yeah, this is just an ensemble. I mean, it's amazing. But
it's very good. And this ties into it, so this is why I'm bringing it up. Jackie Brown will be available on Netflix in August.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's a great film too. Yeah. I really like Jackie Brown
because. We can get into it. As I've probably never laughed harder in a Quentin Tarantino film. I mean, I think Quentin Tarantino, he's one of the funniest. I think.
Oh, in this one.
For this film,
yes,
yeah,
definitely.
I think.
I thought we were talking about Jackie Brown. I'm like, really? That's
no. I think for this film, man, I think just every joke fucking landed for me. I was laughing out loud.
Yes.
For most of it, man.
Even
it was
during the unexpected moments of this movie.
Yes.
Where you didn't expect to have humor, there was humor found.
Where Quentin Tarantino, he's such a good writer where he's good at that. Where, I mean, you can find comedy in all of his fucking films. Inglourious Bastards, just the writing. Because it's so ridiculous.
Definitely.
Yeah. But this one, I mean, I think everything landed for me. And I think the third act is probably the most Quentin Tarantino part of a movie I've ever seen. I mean, it's just
I do have to say though, this was completely different than what I had originally anticipated. I really thought I knew it would be some sort of retelling, but I really thought it would be more about the story of Charles Manson.
Oh, I agree, man.
You get what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
It did throw me for a loop a little bit when I went there and realized that the main characters in this was Cliff Booth and Leo's character.
Oh yeah,
Rick Dalton.
Rick Dalton. Charles Manson has one scene in this.
That's it.
One scene, and he says about 2 words. Yeah, which threw me off, too. I thought it was going to be much. I thought at least the last half was going to be much.
Technically 2 scenes, because he shows up in the beginning at the house, and then he shows up with Cliff Booth fixing the antenna on the roof.
Yeah, he
briefly,
does, right.
Very briefly.
But yeah, it's not a film about him, which I think...
It's not even a film about the Manson family.
No, not at all.
In general.
It's more just a film about Hollywood in the 1960s.
Yeah.
Which I fucking loved.
I loved it too. It was totally different than I expected, but I fucking loved it going in. This was the weirdest thing ever, man. Because I walked out of the theater and a guy comes up to me, okay? He's like, because I overheard him talking that he hated the movie. He's like, that was dumb. Can I get my money back? And then he comes up to me. He's like, hey, man, did you like the movie? I go, yeah, I liked it a lot. He goes, how could you like that movie?
What?
I was like, how could you not, man? Between Hollywood, the 60s nostalgia, and the overall like pacing of this film and the storyline. Dude, and one of my favorite things of this whole movie was the way that they shot like Digicolor and stuff so authentic.
Oh yeah, man. It looks amazing.
Great.
Well, I mean, that's any fucking Tarantino film, man. You know he's going to shoot on film, and you know he's going to... I mean, he's just the biggest film nut, so everything. But yeah... Man, my theater, people were just dying in my theater. I went at like 11 a.m. or something with my cousin. In the morning? And there was Friday.
Wow.
And it was a pretty good... I mean, I had some good amount of people in there, but maybe it was just the fucking diehards, but...
Well, the 10:45 Thursday in the movie parlor, and the movie doesn't get out until 2. We didn't get out of the theater till 2 something. 210 or something. But that thing was all sold out, entirely sold out.
Oh,
on
you gotta
Thursday.
go. You saw the movie parlor. You gotta go see on the big screen one time.
Yeah, but I really love the movie parlor. It's so comfortable, and
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm at home.
But this
you
is
know?
one of those where it's if you can go see it in fucking 35 millimeter, because I think there are definitely theaters that showed in that. But yeah, you got to go see it. It's just so awesome seeing it.
Oh, I'm
fucking
gonna see
big,
this film again. I love
seeing all
this.
those landmarks, all those old theaters, the Cinemark and the fucking Cinedome and stuff like that. All those old movie theaters and stuff. It was such a trip, man. It was like taking a time machine back there. I mean,
It really was.
Everything is so fucking authentic. The set design, he got it down. I mean, because he grew up in fucking Hollywood during this time, so it must have been so awesome for him to do. Just doing a movie about basically your fucking childhood. And how they interchanged all the fucking actors with real shows and everything. I thought it was so cool,
It was great.
And
it was
again,
so cool how they intertwined nonfiction with fiction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like it was just like it was back and forth though. It was interwoven. It was cool.
But like you said, I was surprised it wasn't about the Manson family, but I wasn't upset about it. As soon as I kind of realized what kind of, I mean, it, like you said, it is kind of just, it's a buddy film, but
it's loosely based off Burt Reynolds and his stunt double.
Yeah, it is
loosely.
Which Tarantino was a big Burt Reynolds fan. He's been in his movies and whatnot. R.I.P. And he was supposed to have a role in this. He was supposed to play
probably
George Spahn, the guy who owned Spahn Ranch, who
yes.
ended up being played by what's his name?
That was
Bruce Dern.
That was a great scene too.
Very tense.
Did not go the way I thought it did.
No,
either.
and that's what I love about
anyway.
this. Every time I thought it was going to go away, it didn't go that way.
No.
It went the complete opposite, and I fucking loved it. It's got arguably the craziest ending I've seen in a film in a long, long time, man.
Yeah.
I just walked away happy. I walked
Same.
away with a smile on my face, man, and that's the kind of feeling I got from everyone. This is just one of those films where I walked away and I was just happy with it. I just felt satisfied.
In the recall at the very end with the thing was great, and they set it up because that's what they put in the trailer, and then at the end to use it again
good,
was
man.
just
it
awesome.
was so good, and it's Tarantino's fucking. He's rewriting history. I mean, he's just doing it full force now. He did it with Inglourious Basterds, and now I think it kind of locked in his head that, I can do fucking anything because it's his world. It's still interchanged in this real world. Absolutely, but it's a better world.
It is.
It's
a fun world.
It's a very better.
Observe. Definitely.
I love there was a quote for him where some people were upset that at the end of Inglourious Basterds that they end up killing Hitler.
They were upset about that?
They were upset that it wasn't true to history, because that's not really what happened. But
it's a retelling. It's the same thing with this. I mean,
his quote was like, the reason that Hitler didn't get murdered there was because my characters weren't in the real world. He's like, if my characters were in that world, then Hitler would have died. He would. I mean, because everything that happens with the propaganda movie Inglourious Basterds, that all could happen. I mean, that all did happen. Stuff like that happened all the time.
Well, look at Man in the High Castle, the Amazon Prime series.
Yeah.
That's a different retelling of World War II, where it's an alternative universe.
So it's our world, but it's inserted with his characters.
Yes,
and his characters are they're larger than life with Cliff Booth.
Yeah.
Cliff Booth being the ultimate fucking stuntman badass, dude.
Yeah.
My God, that guy beats up Bruce Lee at one point. And I was dying during that BruceLee scene.
That was awesome.
Oh my God, I was laughing so hard.
It was hilarious. It was really good, and they made Bruce Lee like super cocky too.
Yeah,
which I found funny.
They did. It was really funny, and I'm a huge Bruce Lee fan, but I wasn't fucking offended by it. Some people were upset about that. I read too, that they made him like and it's just.
It's oh my gosh.
It's his character.
Yeah, but people are always going to be mad, and I've noticed one thing. There's a lot of shit trolls on Tarantino on the internet. There really are. Like, he's got this like weird sub base that like trolls him all the time on the internet. He doesn't give a fuck about it, but I have noticed that there's people who's like, oh yeah, he's a sexist, he's a racist, this and that, and it's like, why?
Well, it's weird because he's kind of in the middle where he gets heat from the left and he gets heat from the right.
Yes. It's both. Yeah.
Where it's like
he doesn't align with either one necessarily.
Yeah, well,
as
some
far
people
as
some people
being
hate
on their
some
shit
people
list.
hate because he uses the N word a lot in his films.
Yeah,
but he's
but
people use the N word in real life.
exactly,
And the
you
type
have
of
to-
characters that he's portraying, those are the type of characters that use the N word.
Yeah.
But I mean, and
Well,
then
even back then in slavery, to show that we never want to like go back to that kind of stuff again, you have to show that to go, wow, that is wrong.
Yeah,
Those
absolutely,
characters
yeah.
are wrong. It's art, it's theater, it's portraying characters. It's not real, it's not reality. But you have to
Mm-hmm.
tell those stories so that stuff like that never happens again. That we can look at that and go, wow, that was disgusting.
yeah.
You know what I mean? That kind of racism, that kind of hate for someone else.
So at the same time, he's getting heat from the left for doing that, and then like say, for instance, for Django, he got heat from the right for portraying the South as fucking horrible, horrible racist,
But
and then showing them getting brutally murdered. He got heat from them
Yeah.
for that side too. I know,
Exactly.
but they were fucking
they
horrible.
were, yeah.
And in his world, his characters inserted into that world, they're gonna fucking shoot up a lot of people. That's the kind of characters that he inserts in. You just gotta
I
you gotta
love-
go along with the ride.
Yeah, and I love that with him. Like the movies that he does do like this, how he takes like history, like period pieces, and I don't mean like period, like the Renaissance era. Like I'm not talking about giant eras, but these little times in American history, or just world history, and he intertwines like his story with like real people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, with Sharon Tate for this film. You know, the Nazis and Hitler and Inglourious Bastards and trying to kill him. Like, it's cool. I really like that. It's a different style. And you're right. It's Tarantino's own style.
I like it too. And the whole time I was thinking, I was worried about, or I wasn't worried about it. The whole time I'm thinking like, okay, how are these characters going to end up being intertwined in the world? I was thinking, oh, maybe Brad Pitt, he's going to end up being Tex or something like that, of the Manson family. So the whole time I'm thinking,
Well, and that's kind of what they foreshadowed in the trailer a little bit when they're like, "Ooh, Charlie's gonna love you." And
I
was
think
like,
so.
"Whoa,
Yeah,
does
I think
Cliff
so
Booth-"
too. Also, yeah,
That was what
exactly.
I thought watching the trailer. I was like, "Ooh, this will be a cool story." You know, the untold story of like how.
Yeah.
Because like my initial thought when watching the trailer was that Cliff Booth, Brad Pitt, was going to like get a part of the Manson family, and that's how they found out about Sharon Tate's house.
Same. That's what I thought too. I thought he was
And
going to end up being a large part and being maybe the
Yeah.
crazy, because I mean it was even kind of being set up where he's down and out of his luck as well. You know, he's not getting roles because of his history.
Yeah,
'Cause
and I
it's
thought he was going to
crazy.
be groomed to like be part of the Manson
But
family.
no, it was much more simpler than that. He was
was.
just a normal kind of war hero. He's in the army, but he knew almost immediately a fucking cult when you see one. Which I
Yeah.
don't believe it's that hard to see. I mean, I got a feeling I'm seeing a bunch of fucking people in some kind of compound, or I mean, I'm thinking they're a cult almost always. It didn't take much for Brad Pitt to realize that. He knew something was wrong for sure. But yeah, I like it too. I love how he inserts these characters, and he always takes us to places that we want to fucking go back and see. I mean,
Yeah.
this was such an awesome time, at least in the fucking Hollywood, because so much was going on, you know? We have spaghetti westerns with Sergio Leone, and they get into that, and he dives
love
into
that.
all that. Yeah, I love that he gets into
Leo's
that.
portrayal of Rick Dalton. You know, the down on his luck actor. He's like, spaghetti westerns are the worst to this guy. Like, that'll crush his spirits.
Well, I love
And
how
that's
back
what
then
he's
they all
offered.
thought, man, that's just trash.
Yeah.
That's trash. That's like B schlock or whatever. But those ended up fucking revolutionizing. I mean, Tarantino, he was heavily influenced, and this movie is, I mean, it's a lot like a western. I mean, it's inside a western village, but it's itself is a lot like a western. But yeah, I love that. I love the way he did that. But what did you think about old Leo and Brad Pitt? I mean, this
Man,
combination.
I love the chemistry.
Yeah.
I 10 out of 10. It was awesome. Like, I totally saw it. I saw it the whole time. From
Same.
the opening scene, that black and white shot that we get of them getting interviewed. That dude, I was like, wow, this is perfect. I cannot
they
wait.
have-
And then we get 2 hours and 41
know,
minutes
that's
of
what-
this. Oh, I'm all in. Let's go.
Yeah.
I was ready for the ride immediately.
It's crazy to me that they have somehow not done something together before. How
You know, that's funny because I was like, they've done something before. And then I was like, no, they haven't. They've never co-starred together.
they're all so big. I think it took someone like Tarantino, where he was someone that happens to be, I would say, bigger. I mean, as
and the stars just aligned for this film too, because you look at The Wolf of Wall Street, which was really Margot Robbie's breakout role, in my opinion, and I think in the opinion of a lot of people. But she worked with Leo on that, and Leo works on this, and then with Brad Pitt too. Because did you know Tom Cruise? Tarantino originally reached out to Tom Cruise for the role of Cliff Booth, but nothing ever came of it. And Brad Pitt got the role for this.
I think that would have been a little too on the nose for Tom Cruise as the guy.
Yeah, as the stunt guy. But it almost would have been funny.
Oh, he was supposed to be Cliff Booth.
Cliff Booth, yes.
Well, and to like where he's getting older in his career too. Where Leo, you think he's getting older for sure. I mean, he's
but Tom is not getting older and shittier. He's not.
No, he's not. But I mean, people always say we're Leo. I mean, no one thinks of Leo as like the old guy.
No, not at all. No.
He's in his prime. You could probably say he's in his prime. But yeah, that would have been.
And so is his girlfriend.
Yeah,
she's 22. I'm like, man.
Yeah, he only. Dates,
but I mean,
he only dates supermodels. Yeah. But
I can't blame it.
He went the Jack Nicholson route that way.
Yes.
So, why the fuck not?
Yeah, why not?
But Brad Pitt, man. But yeah, and like we were talking about, to get back to it, the chemistry, man. I hope this just makes a lifelong. I mean, for whatever careers they have left.
Yes.
I hope every maybe 3 years they do a fucking movie together.
Well, who else? If you could add a fourth to this little lineup that we got here, who would you add? And speaking of adding, let's talk about the other cameos kind of in this film. Al Pacino, I loved it. And we know Al, you've talked about it in like Heat and stuff. Sometimes he can go over the top a little bit.
Yeah.
But I loved this role.
Yeah.
I loved his portrayal of this crazy like movie producer guy.
Who does he?
It was awesome.
Oh, he plays Marvin Schwartz, not Schwartz. Schwartz.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does the perfect that fucking 1960s. I don't want stereotypical Jewish Hollywood exec, right? I mean, but he's a huge. Well, I guess we should talk about the premise a little. Let's just talk about the whole thing. It's based in Los Angeles, 1969, right? The fucking swinging 60s. It's the end of the 60s, actually.
And 69 was the year Nixon was in.
So absolutely. I know. Los Angeles, in an alternate timeline where an aging television actor and his stunt double and longtime friend embark on an odyssey to make a name for themselves in the Hollywood film industry. So it's basically Leo. He's playing a guy who he's done a really famous Western called Bounty Law that they shoot on television or whatever all the time, and now he's down and out, right? They're making him,
because he wanted to stop doing Bounty Law to be a big movie star.
Yeah, and it didn't work out, which is fucking classic.
Yeah, classic move.
Especially in
not
those
the best
days,
move.
Yeah, but yeah. So and now he's starting to do like guest appearances on television,
and he
where
tends
he's playing
to be the villain who
he's
dies
playing the
at
heel.
Yeah,
So he's on, and that's according to Al Pacino's character Marvin Schwartz he breaks it down for him and tells him that they're doing that to get rid of you, get rid of your show, get rid of everything, and move in for these new guys.
That they think he's not the alpha.
And I love it. And that's when it all comes together for him. And he's like,
man. You can't do that to a guy like that.
That's it, good buddy.
An actor like that who's got a huge ego.
That's it, good buddy. I'm a has-been.
That was awesome. That was a great scene.
Haven't you heard?
Haven't you heard?
Has-been.
He's like, come on, man. Don't say stuff like that.
And something I love about this movie and about the whole buddy relationship with them is they never went through that stupid kind of thing where they have a big breakup.
Yeah, I hate that.
Which it happens in everything.
One.
Fucking Pineapple Express comes to mind. Happens in that movie. Anything you ever see. This is a movie more about just fucking two good friends. Even when Rick Dalton has to fire Cliff Booth, they're still fucking good buddies.
Yeah,
man.
he was just like, hey, I can't afford it anymore.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of went their own ways, but they were still friends.
And it was a kind of thing that I got that we kind of learned later on that Cliff Booth wasn't getting a lot of work for a particular reason. What was the reason, Mason?
Well,
he has a bad rap.
He may have murdered his wife, allegedly, on the boat.
I think he did.
Which I think this is kind of a nod to a famous someone else.
Well, yeah. I mean, people are always murdering their wives on boats.
It is pretty.
Do not go on a boat alone with your husband, especially on a honeymoon.
Oh, definitely.
Do not go on the honeymoon. But yeah, so everyone believes that he killed his wife, and I think he did. I think that, in my mind, he really did kill her. It doesn't show it in the film. It does show a flashback, and she's just bitching at him, and I thought for sure he was just gonna pull the trigger on that harpoon gun and just.
Yeah, and do it on...
Because it was just pointing at her the entire time. He was just teasing it. And that would have been very Tarantino to show that. But
I kind of like the fact that they cut, though, before. Because we don't know if he actually murdered her or not. But it's obviously presumed that he definitely did. And I like that they don't show it, though.
And we also find out that he's a fucking war hero. And at one point he does, because Brad Pitt, he's Brad Pitt. He's got to whip that shirt off, right? You got to get what you paid for with Brad Pitt. And he's fucking covered in scars, just head to toe. I don't know if it's because he's
a pretty brutal stuntman, obviously.
Yeah, and / war hero. He's been stabbed multiple times, but yeah, and it gets into that he hasn't worked in a long time, and it does a flashback, a great fucking flashback of how he kind of ruined his chances. It's stunting in Hollywood, and we find out it's because he beat up Bruce Lee
on the set of The Green Hornet.
And that whole flashback was so fucking funny. I didn't even expect it to be a flashback because it's so long, and then he goes back. Because remember, he's just on the roof fixing the antenna.
The antenna, and then he's got a giant
and he
kind
of chuckles.
Yeah.
That was so good. I laughed so hard when he just picked up Bruce Lee and
threw him into the car.
So damn hard, dude.
Well, it's funny because Bruce Lee goes up and he throws that famous kick that he throws, and he's like, "Oh, pretty good."
Yeah, he's like, "Dude, remember?" He goes, "Do that again."
Yeah.
And he just fucking
sidesteps and just takes that leg and whiplashes him into the car.
I was laughing so damn hard, yeah. And that was before he even got on set. He was like waiting to be called, and he was just sitting in the back, yeah. But and Bruce Lee was known to fight people off camera.
He was. And the guy who played Bruce Lee did a really good job. His name's Mike Moe.
Well, he did a spot-on impression. The impression was perfect. He might have not looked... With the glasses on, he was a dead ringer for Bruce Lee. When he took the glasses off, he didn't look exactly like him, but he did a perfect impression. And that's probably as close as you're going to get anyone without doing CGI.
For sure.
But yeah, man, he did a great fucking job. And he... And from what he looked like, he kicked some ass, too.
Definitely.
That was a good fucking chest kick to the very first kick to Brad Pitt. But, yeah, man, that was one of the funniest scenes. I thought it was just fucking hilarious. But, yeah, so Cliff Booth, he's not really a stuntman anymore, right?
No. He's
just,
basically a chauffeur.
He's just Rick Dalton's chauffeur because Rick Dalton, he got into too
many DUIs, yeah.
And it does a flashback of that, too, and he's in the back of the cop car. Oh,
fuck. For like the 5th time.
And it goes in his car, and he just fucking totaled his car. Yeah. And we also get that
then,
he's...
you could probably do that.
Oh.
Many times, over and over.
Yeah.
And especially if you're a famous Hollywood actor in the 1960s.
But Rick Dalton's got a bit of a drinking problem.
Yeah.
Can we say that?
Definitely.
And it is...
He drinks all the time.
Leo's just so fucking good. I mean, Leo and Brad Pitt, they're just so goddamn believable, man.
They're good in everything, man. Like, just everything they do and touch is good.
I know, we're just sitting here just fucking kissing their asshole. But Leo, I mean, he's so believable when he's playing a fucking drunk. Just him just coughing and spitting. And I love the scene when he goes up to the girl and on set of the new pilot or whatever. He's just coughing shit up. He's spitting, but yeah, he's a bit of an alcoholic, I would say. He has eight whiskey sours in one night before he's got to be on set.
Ooh.
And he does not take that lightly.
No, he doesn't. Probably why he's forgetting dialogue every so often.
We got to talk about the scene of him in his trailer. Right after, because
every goddamn time.
You got to be better. I'm going to blow your goddamn brains out tonight.
Embarrassing yourself out there. I love it. So funny.
You can't stop at 3 whiskeys. You gotta have 8. You gotta have 8. It's so funny. Like, it's such a drastic. Like,
he's just talking.
He couldn't stop at 3, so he had 8. Yeah. It's goddamn embarrassing yourself out there. I'm gonna blow your goddamn brains out. He's threatening himself. And even remember, he throws the fucking the fucking drink that he has down. He immediately picks it up. So
he goes, I'm done drinking. I can't drink no more. He's like, oh,
yeah, and then he gets mad at himself again. He forgot. opens the door, throws out the trailer.
It's
that was one of my favorite scenes, man. If you're gonna give him the Oscar, you got to play that scene at the fucking Oscars and show why. I mean, that is the scene.
That's
but
like a scene like from Mandy, the Nicolas Cage scene, where it's just really great acting.
It must have been so. I would just love. I always love to go and see the behind the scenes of Tarantino movies because I love to see it. But I would love to see this scene in particular and just see the kind of what did he tell him? I'm wondering if he just said go crazy, just go fucking nuts.
Well, because you can. Everyone can relate to that at one time where you're like talking to yourself. You're like, are you kidding me? You embarrassed yourself out there,
Yeah, and this was a big moment, right? Because this whole time he's thinking he's a has-been, but now he kind of thinks he can get his career back. He can get back on top because and he's kind of doing this new thing where it's this new show where because it's like and it's so funny because they kind of toured it, but back in the 60s it's like any movie we saw it with the movie that Sharon Tate's in, the movie she goes to where it's she
played the klutz
and who's in the movie with her? It's
oh frick.
Dean Martin.
Oh, yes.
In all of those films, when like Dean Martin or Sinatra, whenever they were in films, they were just playing themselves. Mm-hmm. They were playing characters. Like they always had different names, but they were always just playing themselves. Just these guys that could sing and dance and shit like that. But it was like this new thing in like the late 60s, because in this, when he's doing the pilot, the director, he's telling him not to be himself. And it's like the first time he had to wear like a mustache or anything, because before then, in anything you're in, you were always just being like, if you're at a guest spot, you're just being, yourself. That was the big thing. But then they started doing this new thing that was, I guess, like the invention of character actors, I guess. And that was the first time they were like, because they gave him a mustache and shit.
Yeah, and he's like, they won't even recognize it's me.
Yeah.
He's like, well, that's the point.
Yeah.
He's like, you're an actor.
And what, I can't remember the fucking name he's supposed to be. Dakota.
Dakota, yeah. Yeah,
Dakota. Like, I thought it was Dakota.
Yeah, he's like, Dakota.
Because it isn't until that girl. We got to talk about that little girl.
What an actress. Wow.
Unbelievable, man.
Wow.
That was honestly the standout to me.
Oscar?
Well, I mean, she was just, that was, I mean.
It really was
impressive. It's that kind of thing.
In all seriousness.
It's that kind of thing, when you kind of see it, in like a kid actor or whatever, and you kind of know that they're going to be fucking big, I think. Mm-hmm.
Kind of like with 11 and Millie Bobby Brown. You just knew she was going to blow up after that. This girl, very good.
8 years old. Mm-hmm. And it's the scene that she's in is really funny too. But it's kind of that thing where he was kind of explaining the whole thing because he was reading the old Western book, right? Yeah. And it was a Western about some guy who couldn't be a Bronco buster anymore because he hurt his hip.
Her name's Julia Butters.
Butters.
She was born in 2009, so that makes her... Oh my gosh, she's only 10.
She was 8 when she filmed this.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Dude, she was super intelligent, too. Like, very well articulated with her words in the way she portrayed this character. Like, she was super mature.
Well, again, I kind of got that whole scene as, like, she's the new. Because remember, she didn't want to break character or anything. Well,
she was method actor.
Yeah, and that was not a thing. I mean, that was... like, again, people
60s.
Just played themselves. Yeah. They went on set. They did exactly what they would do in real life. Mm-hmm. Where she was kind of that new kind of acting. Remember, she didn't even want to... tell them their real names or anything.
She wanted to be called by her character name.
And Rick Dalton, he was kind of blown away by that. And it was kind of hurt. It was kind of because remember he goes in there and he just fucking flubs his lines, does it bad. And we got Timothy Olyphant is in this.
And that's when we get the trailer.
That's when he goes out to the trailer. Yeah. But then he goes back after he gets himself talking to, after he threatens to kill himself.
Yes, which is always a good idea. Whenever you do wrong, just threaten to kill yourself, and then things will get better.
So funny though, because that whole scene, he's arguing like there's someone else in the room. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was the whole bit. Is like there's someone else. I'm gonna blow your goddamn brains out. But yeah, he goes back and he just fucking kills it. And that scene, and this is another scene that I laughed at when she came up to him. Even though I know it's coming in, she said that was the best acting I've ever seen, and he just sits there and starts crying. It was a good acting though.
It was great.
It was good acting. He throws a little girl on the ground. Yep. Just fucking.
And then afterwards, he goes, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, it's okay. I'm wearing elbow pads."
Their whole dynamic was great.
It
Fucking
was.
Leo and that little girl. They did such a good job.
And do you think that stems from Leo being a child actor as well, and kind of like growing up in the industry where he can kind of relate more to other child actors? Because like, I think some actors do really well when they work with kids, and then other ones it's kind of subpar compared to like adult working with.
Yeah. Oh,
But I
absolutely.
think he's very
yeah.
good with. I mean, at least especially in this film, like he's very good working with children. I wonder if
Yeah.
that stems from him just growing up in the industry.
Very possible.
And
He's
just
very
knowing.
young when he got started, but yeah. But he doesn't work with. But a lot of his movies aren't
How
movies
the
that have
hell
kids
did
in
he
them.
not win an Oscar when he was a child for What's Killing Gilbert Grape?
Oh man, you should
Go watch if you have not seen that film. It's one of, I mean,
It's
for a
depressing.
child,
It's
it's
very
super
depressing.
But man,
It's a movie that I do not watch a lot because
no,
of
no,
how
no, 'cause it's very
because
depressing.
it's a movie that
Johnny
does not
Depp
make you
and-
feel
and
good.
Leo,
Yeah,
but Leo was a child back then, and to be able to do that he should have won. But anyway,
he was in
that's my
a.
2
You
cents.
should go see. He was in a movie before that called Boy's Life. Yeah, it's called Boy's Life with Robert De Niro, and it's amazing, man. I would say it's better than What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Better than his specific performance.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen that, go and watch Basketball Diaries, which is just him a little older with Mark Wahlberg. And they both play kids in that too, and he does a really good. He was always from the very fucking start. He was just like one of those prodigy kids.
Yeah, he was definitely prodigy.
It was one of those,
Always.
yeah, where he's like a savant or something. He just had the gift, and it helped that he was always just either the cutest or just the handsomest person in the fucking world. I mean,
Well, even as a kid, he was super cute. And then
Oh,
growing up,
yeah.
he turned into a very
I
attractive
remember
man,
the
so
fucking
it's like,
teen, like the Teen Vogue or whatever. They always had him on the cover and shit like that. Like, yeah,
It's like, geez, okay, Leo again. Anyone else
yeah,
this
it's
year?
crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was yeah. So maybe that they had great fucking chemistry though. That little girl, she's gonna be in a lot more stuff. I guarantee.
Oh, for
it.
sure. Yeah. Well, I was just glancing through her IMDb, and she's got like 3 or 4 projects in the works,
Oh, yeah,
which is not surprising.
No, I don't.
You watch a
doubt it.
performance like that and go, okay, any little girl we need for any show, any movie, this is one of the. This got to be top of your list.
Oh yeah.
You know, based on this.
Oh, yeah.
So
So yeah. So Cliff.
something
Booth-
else. I
tell
want to
me.
bring
Oh,
up.
you got something else?
Stranger Things. Did you notice?
No.
You didn't? What's her name in I forget her name in Stranger Things, but she was also in this movie as one of the Manson girls. Robin.
Robin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
I
There
noticed
was
that right away. I was like, "Oh, Stranger Things."
Also, Kevin Smith, you know, the director of Clerks, his daughter is in that scene too.
Oh, she's one of the ones that gets.
Yeah, Harley
Oh,
Quinn
okay.
Smith. Yeah, she's also in that. Yeah,
That's funny because I was going through and I was like, Harley Quinn Smith. Someone's dad had to be a huge fan to name her that.
Yeah, who do you fucking think?
Obviously, Kevin
the
Smith.
biggest nerd.
Should
of
have
all.
put the 2 and 2 together.
You
That
got
makes
it, but
complete and utter
There's
sense.
no
man.
one else. No
one
one
else
else in the world
to
is
name their daughter Harley Quinn.
No,
a
no
villain.
One, no one. I'm sure his daughter. I'm sure his wife.
I'm sure his daughter
I'm sure his
loved it.
wife was like. "Oh,
But here's the funny thing: I'm naming my son Jedi Isaiah Knight.
yeah.
So his
that's
name
what
will
you
be
think
Jedi
That's
Knight.
what you think your name, your son.
Well, if I have a son,
Yeah. And your wife is also has to, I think, have some
has
kind
to
of say.
approve.
Yeah.
a small approval.
I don't think you're just.
I just
don't
need
think,
a quick thumbs up one time, and I'll just use.
just
that
bring it up
over
right
and
to the
over.
last minute when
Yeah.
she's like in a daze and be like, "Oh yeah, one more thing."
Yeah, on the morphine after she gives birth, I'm like,
The
let me
morphine.
just sign that. What do they give you? I don't know.
I don't think they
When
give
you're
you.
pregnant, what do they give you?
They give you a shot before,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's more. I don't think it's 1950. They're giving you a
Would
morphine.
you like some more morphine?
Oh, where am I?
I guess. So fucked up. I'm like, give me that birth certificate. Just sign Jedi. real quick.
Jedi, yeah. I don't think of morphine, man. That's a little intense. I think if they're giving her morphine, you best be saying your goodbyes. 'Cause that's some,
Wow, that got dark.
Yeah,
Well,
man,
then
well,
I could name my child.
that's something they're
whatever.
giving people on the battlefield when they get shot. They're
Yeah,
giving it to
goodbye,
pregnant women.
yeah.
I don't think you're even allowed to have morphine and then breastfeed after.
No, you're not. Yeah, good point. It's an opioid, right? Yeah.
You're already a bad parent and a bad husband, and you're not even married or
I'm
having
not
a
married
kid.
or
You're
have a
not
child
a good
yet.
start
No,
for sure.
Not a good not a good start at all.
So Brad Pitt's character, he's like a handyman, right?
He is.
But when we got to talk about it. We didn't even bring it up. We got to talk about Rick Dalton. His fucking next door neighbor is
Sharon Tate and Roman Pulowski.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a whole nother thing where it's like she's the new upcoming also, and now he's also fucking retiring.
And you could see it the very first time he realized it was them. He was thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna revitalize my career. I gotta get in with them some way."
Well, I
somehow.
love at the start. He's like, it's I'm one barbecue away or whatever from getting called up, and
Exactly.
And we won't get too much into it, but that very ending where they're walking him up, and he like it just feels like he made it.
Yeah,
Like,
but it tied it in perfectly
yeah, it was perfect.
at the end
Was.
because they obviously showed it, but so subtly in the dialogue that when you figure it out at the very end, it's awesome.
Yeah,
It's awesome
you know
where he
that
tied it back
he's
in.
set now. Like he'll have this lifelong, and he'll start doing the best movies of all time because it was Roman Polanski, and he was
Right, and that was the biggest
he was,
time of his career.
exactly. Yeah. But yeah, so we get that, and we get introduced to Sharon Tate and the guy who's playing Roman Polanski. He looks a lot like him. And they go to the Playboy Mansion, and we gotta talk about the soundtrack, which in Tarantino movies, the soundtracks, they're always fucking amazing. But in this one, just as fucking
I said
good.
it in the middle of the theater, loud as can be. I was like, "This soundtrack is incredible." Was anyone else picking this up?
It's so fucking good, man. You're right. And I've been listening to just Tarantino-inspired soundtracks ever since I saw this on Spotify and everything. I can't get enough of it. It just kills it. But yeah, so we see in the Sharon Tate, they go to the old Playboy Mansion. Is there any better place to go in the 60s in California?
No. I will say that right away.
Out of any other- is there
Absolutely
any-
not. Under any condition, is there any better place in the 60s than to party at the Playboy Mansion?
Every
That's peak Playboy.
single night, that place was going off.
That was
you come there
Hugh
on a
Hefner
Tuesday
in
on
his
fucking
damn
Christmas.
prime.
Well, he was still 80. He was 80 years old at that in 1960.
1960, he was still 80.
He did live.
He lived to be 140.
He did live to be 140.
That is
Don't
true.
forget about
He was
that.
practically a vampire.
But yeah, I mean, there's, and I'm so glad. And it's always got to be intimidating to show that movie because you got to do it right, man. You got to do 1960s Playboy. But I think he did it pretty fucking good. Mama
so did
Cass
I.
was there.
And there was no nudity either.
Yeah,
You notice that?
there wasn't.
Yeah.
They're keeping it clean. But we got a bunch of fucking a bunch of cameos of people during this Playboy Mansion. And a bunch of famous people. Damian Lewis is one of them. He played Steve McQueen.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I love the whole fucking that part of him telling the story about the dynamic between Sharon Tate, and it's a weird fucking dynamic with her and her ex, and how they're best friends, and
Their best, yeah.
it's the '60s, man. I'm guessing they're just like, hey, free love, do whatever.
Well, because she was engaged to him.
and she
met
broke it
the
off.
other guy broke it off.
She
and got
met
engaged to
Roman
the other guy.
Polanski.
Yeah, Roman.
So here's the story: is she was dating because the guy she was dating is he was an actor also. I mean, he was in things, or he directed Jay Seibrig, played by Emil Hirsch, in this. But yeah, so Jay and Sharon Tate were married, or were gonna be married. Then she went and did a film with Roman Polanski in Europe, and they fell in love. She broke it off, but they remained best friends.
Yep.
All three of them were best friends. So Roman was best friends with Jay also. And when Rowan would go shoot films, Jay would stay with Sharon.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So what was going on there? I think it was just basically like just an open
I know.
three-way relationship.
You think they were
which-
fucking?
For sure, man. For
I
sure.
know.
And like, if all three parties are okay with it, it is what it is. I mean,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
you know,
yeah, we don't
it's,
give
it's
a fuck.
Hollywood. They're
Consenting
doing
adults.
their, they're doing their exactly consenting adults. It is what it is. Let them do whatever.
But
they
it
want.
is a very odd dynamic.
It is strange. It's
But I
very
mean,
strange.
and we gotta think it is the '60s though, and maybe that was just
And that-
because,
that
and it was
was
also
the-
it was always people coming and going, especially out of like houses, like living with you and stuff. You always had someone living with you. I mean, we know because during that night she was murdered. Jay was murdered, and another couple, the same people that were staying with her, that are shown in this film. So it was like a revolving door of fucking. It was just one big orgy back in the '60s, man. But yeah, so he explains it, and it's a very good scene. Steve McQueen explains it, and I love when the girl goes, "Man, she has a type," and Steve McQueen goes, "Yeah, I never had a shot." Even he was fucking.
What
It
was
just
the
kinda paints-
type? It was short,
short and European, I think, or
European
something like
and good looking, or something
and
like
like
that.
dorky
And, like,
or nerdy or
yeah.
something like that. But
they never
not-
stood a chance.
and not what Steve McQueen was. Fucking Steve McQueen. He was always very good looking.
Yeah, he
Not
was the
that type
opposite
at
of
all.
that.
Yeah, but yeah, look at that good looking guy. That's 1960s good looking. Oh man.
Yeah, it is. Steve McQueen.
But yeah, and it kind of painted the picture that everyone was fucking in love with Sharon Tate, right? I mean, I think
everyone was during that time.
I think
how do you not?
And
she was,
Margot Robbie
she
did
was
such a good job
beautiful.
where she seemed like you just meet her and you fall in love with her, right? And she
She's
portrayed
such a
that.
likable person.
And it was to the point where, I mean, because during the first half, you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, we haven't spoiled it yet, but I'm thinking, holy shit, I don't want to see her die.
I know, that's what I said too.
The whole time I'm like,
time,
this is going to be a... And I know Tarantino...
I
know Tarantino. I know this is going to be a brutal murder. Yep. And then when you see her pregnant, you know, oh my...
I know, that's what I was like, man, this sucks. Because you knew she was going to die in the movie.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that was the biggest shocker of the whole thing for me, honestly, was the fact that she didn't.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean,
you know,
that was the big twist.
Here's a really cool thing that I'm looking through the soundtrack right now. I could have swore I heard a Doors song, not the song, but the background, like Riders in the Storm or L.A. Woman. But I can't see it on the Screen Rant article. But nonetheless, you know that they used one of Charles Manson's songs, I'll Never Say Never to Always.
Of course I know it.
Yeah.
I know it. I knew it before this. Yeah.
No, but they used it for the film. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I know. I knew as soon as they played it, I knew it was a Charles. It's kind of a... I mean, he was a shitty musician.
I think he was just shitty all around.
He was a shitty, and that was what he ended up murdering. He was a shitty musician, and people told him that he wasn't going to be a musician ever. And then he tried to be a filmmaker. They tried to be a filmmaker, and people said, "Oh, you're a shitty filmmaker." And then he said, "Okay, I'm going to kill everyone in the film industry." And then he tried to go and kill Roman Polanski, and he ended up killing everyone, all the wrong people. But yeah, I mean, he was just but his song is right when they go to the ranch. It's like it's a freaky fucking weird song. It's very odd, but yeah, I mean, that's another just aspect of Tarantino, man. That just adds a whole nother layer to the film. But yeah, and Cliff Booth, while he's fixing Rick Dalton's his TV fucking thing, I guess it broke during a windstorm or something. We get our first glimpse of old Charlie Manson driving that famous old Twinkie truck that he used to drive around. What a kooky guy he was.
He was a very strange little man.
He was quirky before it was cute to be quirky.
Yeah. More like creepy quirky, right?
But yeah, we get it, and he's checking out the property because he really did think someone else lived there at one point. They just stumbled on, and again, fucking the 60s, you could just walk up anything.
Even in Beverly Hills.
Even the most famous people in the world.
And they're like, yeah, no, he doesn't live here anymore.
Yeah.
No
come on in.
questions,
You want to live with us for a while?
Nothing. Now it's like every neighborhood's gated security.
We got to be.
We've even got one right there.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, this is literally what started that. That at the end of the 60s where it's like, oh, fucking the hippies are going around murdering people.
Well, imagine the first time you see that on the news. It's terrifying.
And then the news just says, oh, this is selling a lot. Now we got to make people scared all the time.
That's literally all the news is.
That's
all.
You
turn on the news, it's like, a murder here, a murder here.
Well, that's all the 70s was. But
tips to stay cool.
The 70s did have a lot to be scared about. To be fair, it was a very bloody time.
The 70s was notorious for serial killers at that time.
Yes, it was. Yes, so. But this is the spawn of it, and that's why this is such an awesome, or not awesome. It's such an interesting period of time.
Yeah,
the 60s, and it's kind of goes back to even when we were talking about Fear and Loathing. Mm-hmm. He's talking about that exact same time.
Yeah, the shift from the 60s culture to 70s, and this is 1969, so that's right on the cusp of the transition.
And Tarantino, who grew up around that time, and he's more aware than anyone of what that kind of fucking shift was and how shitty it became. I mean, the 70s.
And how fast.
Yeah, real fucking quick. But eventually, old Cliff Booth, Brad Pitt's character, he ends up going down to the old Spawn Ranch. And what is Spawn Ranch, Mason? People might have heard of that before.
Spawn Ranch was the old Western set that they used to shoot on.
Yes,
and
they
then
did.
Famously later on, obviously the Manson family was squatting there.
Yes, they were. And and so they were living there with Charlie Manson and all of his many women, many sexy little hippie women. And,
a lot of good-looking women.
A lot of hairy women.
A lot of hairy women. Yeah, not a lot of shaving taking place.
Not
However, still beautiful. And I like that. I like that setup that they did over and over, where Cliff Booth kept driving past her, and she was always trying to hitchhike.
Yes.
And he was always going a different direction, or he was busy. And then finally, the third time around, he's going the same way.
And
she
I laughed.
needs.
I thought it was so funny when he was about to pick her up and the cop drives by. She yells, "Fuck you, you fucking big," and he just goes, "Oh no."
Yep.
Yeah.
He's like,
He just immediately
"Oh."
knows. He's like, "Oh, what a
I fucked
mistake."
up.
Oh no, but yeah, she did a really good job too. I can't remember her name, but she's in one of my favorite HBO series of all time.
Her name was Pussycat in it. Her name's Margaret Qualley.
Yeah, and she was in The Leftovers. If you haven't seen The Leftovers on HBO, I would highly recommend it. One of my favorite shows ever. But yeah, she did a really good job of playing that nice but crazy. I mean, you could tell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was nuts. She was definitely part of the family.
All these people that Charles Manson preyed on, they were a type that lost kind of just looking for any kind of family, just any kind of family, because you don't want
runaways, young girls. Yeah, that was the primary targets.
Yeah, because no one wants to live on fucking Spawn Ranch. Place is a shithole.
Yeah, dude. Nothing's clean. Everyone's gross. No one's taking a shower in 2 weeks.
As soon as Cliff arrives, he knows something's up. I mean, he knows he wants to go find.
He wants to go find George right away.
George Spahn, his old friend, who, because Cliff Booth, Brad Pitt's character, he worked on Spawn Ranch a little while ago when they were
8 years ago.
When they're still filming, so because he immediately knows something's up, and this is kind of when it turns, right?
Yes.
This is like a half of the movie in, because the first half, it's light. It's really light.
Mm-hmm. It's fun.
And but it's almost like, when is this going to turn into a Tarantino movie? Like, the dialogue's there and everything, but when is it going to make that turn? It's something's serious going to happen.
It felt at parts a lot like a Tarantino film, but there were some parts where it was a little different, where it wasn't your stereotypical Quentin Tarantino film.
No,
at least for me. But I don't say that in a negative way. I say that in like I feel like he's kind of even expanding more on his ideas in his storytelling. It's more of a compliment than like a negative.
Well, he never puts himself in a box, right? I mean, he never says, okay, this is what I am. He's always, I guess, looking for something kind of different to do. And that's what this first half, we've already talked about this first half. It feels like it's just like a step back in the 1960s, and you're just seeing what it was like to be on set and how cool it was, because everyone mingled with everyone, and everyone was like,
and that was
hey,
one
you're
of the
doing that show? Come on over and do my show, dude. I mean, everyone was doing everyone's show and stuff.
And it was
super
a
cool
pivotal time in film too,
Oh,
because you really think about the 60s going into the 70s.
Well, film and TV.
Right.
Yeah,
and
TV.
Everything after that. Think about after the 70s, after that 10-year period, and you think 10 years is a lot of time. It's really not. Between 1969 and 1979, we had advanced so much. It was a completely different time.
Oh, yeah.
That whole giant transition. And this is kind of the start of it all.
Yeah.
Was 1969 in this time period. Because you had spaghetti westerns and stuff.
Oh yeah, and that revolutionized the western and everything. And TV,
later on
TV
to like
was
action stars and different
TV was
like
becoming
that.
something else too, where like the drama was taking hold and stuff like that, and it wasn't just sitcoms and stuff like that. And it was,
and you got more
and
into
variety
the craft of
shows,
because well.
that's what TV was mostly was. Yeah, and exactly, and it became more serious and stuff like that. And we see that with shows like they show FBI and Lancer and stuff like that. Those crime shows a lot, but and FBI, the series that, or the episode that Leo's character is in, that part was played in real life by Burt Reynolds.
That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah,
that's a good nod to Burt.
Yeah, he was the guest on that episode, and he hid in the back of the fucking hay car and shot at the people. And I love their dialogue when they're showing that part of between Brad and Leo. When he's showing his episode, when they come over, he's like, great leap. He's like, that guy was an asshole. He's telling everyone.
The FBI show lasted for 9 seasons, from 65 to 74.
Oh, yeah.
That's
that was
a long
really
time to
popular
be
show.
running.
Yeah, my uncle
on TV.
talks about it. I used to watch it all the time. Yeah. I know. I can't believe the FBI okayed that.
Yeah.
Like, are we sure we want to be betrayed?
In a very, very interesting time in American history as well, considering like the FBI and CIA,
But it betrayed the FBI in a really, really good view. So I'm sure they're like, we could use the PR because it showed them as the heroes. Obviously,
always the heroes. Yeah.
Didn't show them planting evidence
or hacking into your personal information,
or listening or putting tapes on people and stuff like that. But Yeah, so Cliff, he goes, and eventually, and this is a really tense scene, but, I thought, George Spahn, he's going to be dead for sure. He's going to be in the room.
That's what I was thinking too, because it was getting, and then I thought they were going to kill Cliff, because I'm like, this is a Tarantino film. Anyone's fair game.
Oh, absolutely.
We know that in Tarantino films. And I thought, like, for sure, adios, Cliff. He's going to get hit over the head.
Why don't you talk about your girl?
Oh, my girl. She is my girl, man.
Because I thought she was gonna kill him.
So did I. Definitely thought she was gonna kill him too. I had a crush on her when I was 8 years old.
Well, who is she?
Dakota Fanning.
Thank you.
Dakota Fanning.
Talk about her.
Most people have Ellie Fanning, but I like Dakota. And she as always, she crushes in this role. She plays Macy, right?
No, she plays Squeaky.
Squeaky, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Squeaky.
Squeaky.
Which is actually a real person. It's based on one of the Manson girls who committed the murders.
Absolutely. You know what's old Squeaky's known for more than the Manson family? She attempted to kill Gerald Ford, president.
Yes.
And that's what she ended up, because she ended up not going to jail for the Manson family, anything like that. But she ended up going to jail later for trying to kill the old president. Which is frowned upon in
you
all
could just
old...
never figure it out there, Squeaky. I mean, you dodged one bullet.
Yeah, I know.
You ain't gonna dodge two. I mean, both pretty high profile cases. You didn't think that one through.
Weird. I honestly think she might be still alive.
No way. She's still sitting in a cell?
Bro, I talked about it because I went to see this movie with my cousin, but almost all these women are on parole.
Parole still.
Yeah, and she's due.
What do you think about that?
It's
tough for me because I'm like, man,
it's
they
tough,
were
but I know.
Impressionable.
Yeah.
17, 18,
They also did horrible
women.
things,
Yeah,
and
they
I
did.
have
They
no
did do
idea
horrible
what
things,
kind
too.
of women they are now. That's the thing.
Right,
Where it's
and
hard
that's
for
where
me
we
to
can't,
judge on.
because they could still be the same. Crazy.
Yeah,
women.
exactly.
Yeah. Crazy people in general. It's just. Yeah.
The whole point of prison though is rehab. I mean, they're not supposed to sit
that's what
in
it should be.
Yeah, exactly.
Should be
well, in our system, it's not. No. But I mean, the whole point is to get them in and get them out. They're not supposed to be sitting in a cell forever. But people like Charles Manson, he obviously should not have ever gone on parole, and he never did.
She was released on parole on August 14, 2009, after serving nearly 34 years.
Yeah.
She tried to assassinate. Right. And they let her out.
Yeah.
That's insane.
She wouldn't have got...
She's still alive.
She's fucking lucky she didn't succeed, because she'd be still sitting
Oh,
in
yeah.
fucking...
Well, she would have been put to death. I mean,
No.
It's basically treason, isn't it? If you kill a...
I don't think there's... Yeah, well, I know Sirhan who
if you
killed
try
Bobby
to kill
Kennedy.
a president...
Well, they usually don't make it to fucking prison is the odd thing.
No, never do.
Somehow they always just end up just not making it. It's so funny how that always ends up happening.
It is.
Like these people have crazy information that could hinder everything we do. But yeah, they usually don't end up making it. But Sirhan, who killed Bobby Kennedy, who was a sitting senator at the time, I'm pretty sure is still alive.
Yeah.
He's not president, but you think it'd be kind of the same roles. He's a government official, so I don't know. I guess it depends on how good your lawyer is.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
how fucking crazy you are. Because if you get the insanity, you're good.
But you're also getting locked up forever if you plead that. They'll never let you out on insanity. You ever think they'll let someone out of a cell if you plead insanity?
I think they do. Oh yeah, they do.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why everyone tries to get it. Why do you think everyone's trying
Get
to
out
go
of jail
for it?
Free card and
well, I mean,
Monopoly?
again, and I think of course, it's still shitty, but yeah. So Dakota Fanning, she plays old Squeaky, and I thought, like we said, I thought for sure she was gonna. It's a very tense moment. It's played out very well of him going back and slowly opening up and seeing Bruce Dern, who plays George Spahn. Mm-hmm. And that old fucker is still alive.
Yeah,
and he's just living the life.
He loves
it. Clearly being taken advantage of.
He is. But at the same time, the women made it very clear that they take care of George.
Yeah.
Which,
except
there was some...
He's blind. He can't do anything himself.
Yes, but if you're an old man you're about to die, and a bunch of beautiful young hippie women are like, hey, can we stay here and we will take care of you? Quote,
yeah,
unquote.
but I think the whole thing was
would you
He
not
didn't-
take that?
I didn't think the whole thing was he didn't think 40 of them was living there. Because I think that's what set Cliff up. Where he's
Yes.
like, oh, there's two.
Yeah, he's like, dude, there's a lot of people here. I
Yeah.
don't think you understand. It's not just old Squeaky.
And I don't think old
a
fucking
lot
George
more.
ever got that through his head. He didn't
did
even,
not.
He couldn't even figure out who he was talking to.
Love is blind.
He thought he was
Right?
talking to who'd he say at one point?
He thought it was Squeaky. That was it. Oh, he thought he was talking to.
Yeah, he kept saying Booth.
You're right.
Booth. He was another president.
Yep. It was someone else. Oh, no, Wilkes Booth.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
guy who assassinated
he's like,
Abraham Lincoln.
Wilkes Booth. Yeah,
like,
that's what he
what?
says at
No.
one point. Yeah, so he wasn't all there, but he does end up seeing him, and that gives him enough of the go ahead and to say that this place is okay. But they did not like him going to talking to George. Because George has got to watch Bonanza. He's got to fucking stay
At
up all
7
night.
p.m. That's why he was taking a nap, so he stays up because Squeaky gets real upset if
and
he doesn't stay awake.
from
which
what
is
I
very
hear,
strange. He's blind. Why does she care if he stays up?
yeah, is he just listening to
I
it?
guess he's just listening to things.
And from what I hear, you don't want to be on the bad side of old Squeaky.
She'll beat
Whatever the hell,
shit out of you.
whatever the hell Gerald Ford did.
And it's not the kind of beating you want to take, if you know what I'm saying. So you better mind Squeaky.
So the whole group is mad now, and we forgot to say Cliff. He's driving the caddy for old Rick Dalton, because Rick Dalton
Still.
can't drive. And someone fucking punched a hole in that tire. And this scene is
Not very smart.
amazing. We already know that Cliff Booth is a badass. So this, and it's the goofiest fucking guy.
Steve Grogan.
Yeah,
Grogan.
I
Whatever.
don't know if he's been in anything else.
Well, no. That's the name of the character that because he's one of the guys who was convicted in the Manson.
oh
murders.
yeah, oh he did play
Yeah.
a real character. I didn't even know
So
that.
Steve Grogan, whatever, is the actual guy's name.
Oh, that guy does look like him.
Yeah, he does actually. That's a great mugshot. He looks stoned to the gills. He doesn't even look like he's alive. He
They
looks
all
like he's
fucking
sleeping.
were. They all
But yeah,
were,
dude,
man.
they were taking way too much acid.
Yeah, out in the
Like,
desert.
moderation, guys. Come on. Yeah, in the
Well,
desert when you got
is a
nothing
fucking,
else.
when your acid cigarettes are 50 cents a pop.
Yeah, it's kind of hard not to just
Are you not taking acid
smoke
then?
all
Are
the
you
acid.
telling me
Yeah.
you're not taking that
That's true.
economy?
50 cents. That's prime
You're a
time
moron
acid,
not
man.
to be taking that acid. It's a bad deal for you
For
to
you.
not be taking that acid. That's crazy, man.
It is. It's insane.
I've heard people talk about how these old guys talk about how they would take acid $2 a tab. And just fucking, and it was just like on the corner, like they're selling fucking Hot Pockets. And just everyone had
It's so
it.
wild.
I know, man.
I mean, what's the going rate for acid these days?
a lot. I mean,
Is it?
yeah, oh yeah. I mean, you got to be a fucking chemist.
That's true.
Back then, I guess fucking everyone. was a
Everyone,
chemist.
everyone just paid attention in school, right?
Yeah, I mean, and it wasn't so frowned upon. I think everyone, old or your neighbor's got a little chemistry set going on.
Yeah, just
Little
think
do you
it's
know,
normal.
he's rolling out tabs of acid.
Got test tubes, pouring things in together.
It was crazy, man. Crazy. But yeah, but he ends up beating the shit out of Steve Grogan, and it is amazing. And this
It
is
is.
when it turns into a straight up Tarantino film.
And it's also where you know that Cliff Booth is not just a stuntman, but he's actually a well-trained fighter as well.
Well, we know
And
that
we
when
see
he
that with the Bruce Lee
when he fucks up Bruce Lee.
as well. Yeah,
But now we know that he's some man. I know it's probably interconnected some way, but But I mean, we know he had been in like Vietnam or something like that. But he's probably fucking related to old Aldo from Inglourious Bastard somehow. It's all interconnected. All his movies are connected in somewhere. But yeah, he's a fucking badass because he rocks Steve Rogen a couple times. And just continues to beat the shit out of him until he eventually makes him change his tire.
he's like, change it. Yeah, he's bloody. His whole face is fucked up. Yeah,
Well, I love you, but just grabs him by the hair and just keeps going at it. Yeah, and it's also the kind of we get the sense that he's a badass, but he's not someone to be fucked with in any kind of circumstance. Even when he's surrounded by, he pretty much went into this guy's house and started beating the shit out of him. But
front of everyone else,
there's
too.
also the point where we get the first fucking we get introduced to Tex Watson, who was
Yes.
really what they say he was the fucking madman of the group. He was the guy that was like, okay, let's fucking do it. Let's do it. I'm in.
The horse riding crazy man.
He was an actual psycho. And
how'd you think Austin Butler played him?
He played exactly how I'd want it to play. Just a sniveling fucking. He ended up acting like this fucking badass, but he ended up all these people, fucking Charlie Manson, and everything.
Oh, they all had inflated egos.
And this movie really was just a big fucking fuck you to the Manson family.
It was.
That's what it was, man.
Yeah, and they got zero glory in the end.
It was almost to the point where I felt like. Where I feel like Quentin Tarantino, he probably was angry about it. Like, oh, you took this. Because a lot of people say Charlie Manson ended the fucking summer of love in the 60s and whatnot. Like, it ended with him.
Because it ended in terror, man.
And it ended where, like, people were already questioning these hippies and whatnot. And they were, like, just giving him a reason. Because people didn't like, I mean, obviously, fucking politicians and stuff didn't like these people talking about love and peace and whatnot. Because... You make a lot of money out of war and whatnot.
Well, yeah, and we were in the midst of Vietnam.
Yeah, and everything.
You know?
So and
we were there probably what?
Yeah,
9 or 10 years.
And we even see it with fucking Rick Dalton how he just fucking hates these hippies. And I mean, the worst thing. I mean, they were the biggest problem with them where they were talking. They just wanted everyone to get along. But people were really just looking for something to pin something on them. And once the Mansons fucking did it, it ruined the hippie movement for everyone. I mean, one bad apple, it's like the Hitler stash.
Mm-hmm.
No,
yeah,
you can't
no
grow out.
No one has that. You've never seen it.
Never. It's ruined.
Worldwide, it's known. Like, no one has the Hitler stash.
One single man actually ruined a mustache.
An entire mustache.
Yeah. Charlie Chaplin had to shave.
Mm-hmm.
He had to get rid of.
He did. Now we just look at Charlie, even though it was before, and we go, that guy's a piece of shit. And we're like, no, hold on. We got to look at the time frame here.
Yeah.
No. That was before.
But it did, man.
So,
and that's what this film made me. It was a fucking Tarantino saying, "You took this from me, this amazing, amazing time, and ruined it. Now I just wish Charlie Manson was fucking alive to see it."
Yeah, he died right before.
Man, I wish he could I wish someone could play this in his little tiny cell and show him just.
Yeah, he'd probably like it though, in some sick way. He'd probably be pissed that he wasn't in the movie enough. Though
he's such a little sniveling fucking dick that. Any kind of fucking... I think he was more embarrassed about... I mean, that's what he was. He was just super fucking embarrassed that no one wanted any part of him or something, so he ended up killing all these people. He's spoiled, really.
Out of spite. That's all it was. It was out of spite at the movie industry, because...
Yeah.
And, dude, it's like, how many people in Hollywood get rejected? You don't see people going around murdering people, you little twat.
But I love the scene of them going and getting Tex. Because it keeps adding on that tense because you think Tex is going to come down and be fucking
kill him.
Pissed because he's Tex. And I hear he wasn't the nicest guy.
No.
I hear he wasn't so lighthearted.
I remember hearing he was the most keen to murder.
Yeah, he was pretty jacked up about the whole idea.
Yeah. He was just the extremist of the group.
He was just one of those things where, like, that's the stars aligning. We're like... I started this cold and I wanted him to kill, but I just happened to find someone that like he wanted to kill before. He was like meant to be. They were the perfect match.
Mm-hmm.
But but he ends up getting away before Tex even comes, right?
Yeah, just right in the nick of time because Tex is running back on the horse because they're doing tours, and that's probably how the Manson family made their money. Was doing personal tours like that.
But
up in the hills.
But they did see the car he was driving away in, and before that, him and Tex did meet. Cliff Booth and Tex didn't meet.
Before that?
Yeah, remember they introduced him. They introduced him, then he rides off and then goes. So he did know who he fucking was. Mm. So it all kinds of ends up being connected at the very end.
It does.
But yeah, and eventually though, old Rick Dalton, he ends up going and he ends up being convinced to go do spaghetti westerns in Italy, right? Mm-hmm. Old Schwarz ended up convincing him to do. And they talk about it, but he goes and he works for the number 2 spaghetti western director. So he's not working for Sergio Leone, who's the number 1. But he's working for another number 2 guy who was an actual real director, and he actually made the original Django.
Oh.
Who Quentin Tarantino. I can't remember the guy's name in real life, but and Rick Dalton, he ends up getting a wife while he's there, as one is to do in Italy. When you
understandable. I mean,
you gotta take one of those. You gotta take one of them home.
You do.
It's like a souvenir shop. You gotta. But yeah, he ends up taking his wife or his co-star, and being his wife. But Cliff Booth, Cliff goes with him to Italy to be a stuntman, though, also, right? And they end up flying both. And this is during a 6-month period. We have 6-month flashback. So now it doesn't show it, but the Manson family, you know, they've been thinking about this whole thing for a while. I don't know what the timeline is, but I'm sure plans weren't set in one night. I think they were thinking about it. Because they definitely had it down. I mean, it was fucking supposed to be the start of the race war, Helter Skelter, where the fuck he planned on doing. I don't know what.
Yeah, that was his entire objective, is to start a race war.
Yeah, and that's what it was. He thought that was going to kick off the fucking revolution. But really, he just sent him to jail.
That's it.
Which I think if someone just told him, you're just going to go to jail, I think maybe
he would have reconsidered, maybe. I think someone should have told him that to begin with.
But, yeah, and he ends up telling Cliff that he's fired.
Yep.
He's shit can.
And it wasn't a big dramatic scene like we talked about earlier. It was just, okay, I understand. Yeah. You know? And
then I love that we got the Kurt Russell. He fucking narrated this whole thing. Not only was he in it, but he also did the narration.
As Randy, the stunt guy.
We didn't even talk about that, too. I love that scene,
That's
too.
another cameo,
and his whole scene between him and Leo getting into, like, I'm going to be honest with you. He murdered his wife.
My wife doesn't want to see him on set.
And then Leo was like, oh, man, he's a goddamn war hero.
And then he comes out of the trailer, and he's like, hey, how's it going? He goes, well, better go get into that wardrobe. He's being real nice to him after talking shit about him in the trailer.
He's like, you know my wife? Just stay away from her.
Yeah, as he's walking away. It's perfect comedic.
Yeah, that whole thing was like, he creeps people out. We don't like being around. And then that's when we got the flashback of him murdering his wife. But yeah, but he also narrates and he explains kind of what's going on and how their one last night together, they were gonna go crazy. Mm-hmm. They're gonna drink and go hard, and because it's like their final goodbye, right?
Yep.
And yeah, so that's what they do. They come back. They go to Mexican. They don't go to El Coyote, because the El Coyote is where Sharon Tate and her friends go. That's where they really did go the night before the Manson murders. But they end up going to a different Mexican restaurant and getting super fucking drunk. And I thought it was hilarious the thing that Leo goes in to do, because remember they go in the Mexican restaurant and Leo sees someone he knows. He's with like a girlfriend or something.
Oh, yeah.
He goes, hey, what's going on? How's your wife? And the guy's like, what the fuck? He's just with his girlfriend. He's like, I'm kidding. I'm going to start doing that when I see people with their girlfriend.
Hilarious. Just go up to him and like, hey, how's your wife?
How's your wife?
What?
Because the girl was so pissed.
She wasn't happy about it.
I thought that was hilarious. Shitty thing to do to your friend.
Very shitty thing.
You're probably going to ruin that relationship, but
the
laughs
over
you'll get
at that point. But the laughs afterwards. It's like one of those things that you hate in the moment, but looking back, it's funny. You know, you ruined my relationship.
Hey, how's your wife?
It's all good.
There's no bouncing back from that. What are you going to say? I don't have a wife.
I don't have a wife. Well, oh, really? Okay, yeah, I believe you now.
Yeah, well, of course, what are you going to say?
You saw some random guy who asked you how your wife was. Obviously, you got a wife.
But, yeah, so they return from Los Angeles, and they go out and night of drinking, and it works out perfectly because Rick's wife, she's Italian, she's real jet lagged, she's sleeping through the whole thing, and they're going hard. It's damn near the peak of this. It's about to be the 70s now. Cliff or Rick, he's got long hair, he's growing out the sideburns. That's a clear-cut sign of the 70s are coming, unfortunately.
Yeah, they're coming full force.
They're coming fast, and they're going to hit y'all like a goddamn train. There's going to be bell-bottoms and disco. You bet your sweet
and that comes fast.
And it's coming like a wave.
Yeah. It does.
Because it's going to take everyone in its fucking wake. But yeah, they go out, and and before, we were talking about it a little, but Cliff ends up smoking an acid-laced cigarette that he bought 6 months prior. And that's when it just, I mean, it's going to be so hard to even talk about it, but it just gets insane from here.
Very fast. It gets very insane.
It just gets fucking, it's nuts. So the Manson family, they go up to Sharon Tate's house. Right? They're checking it out.
Yeah, they're all in black. They all got knives in their hands.
Yeah.
And this is a scene that I really liked with Robin, the girl from Stranger Things, where she's like, hold on, we're going to go, oh, hey, I forgot my knife. Can I go get it real quick?
That was hilarious.
Can I get the keys? Gets the keys, goes back, grabs her knife. You hear, what? starts the car. She hightailed it out of there. She wanted nothing to do with that. I think the only sane one in the group. I think at that point,
Well, what scared
you don't
her-
have a getaway vehicle. Wouldn't
Yeah.
you go, man, maybe this isn't a good idea?
Yeah, well, I love because it didn't portray them as these fucking maniacal villains.
Yeah.
Like they're these hellbent Batman villains or something. Where like they're just these
evil on
fucking
Earth kind of thing.
stupid people that
Stupid,
were
yeah.
being taken advantage of.
Stupid, naive.
by a man
kids,
was
yeah.
just that happened to be just slightly less stupid than the rest of them, and
Mm-hmm.
somehow he just got him. And they're just but he didn't portray him. He just portrayed him like fucking idiots, and I'm sure that's how they were. But yeah, it was Rick Dalton going out and yelling at him. He goes out with a margarita. And he just these guys are about to murder.
And then
people.
they're
He
like,
just starts
Hey, was
giving
that
it.
Rick? Yeah. He's like, was that Rick Dalton?
He's like, you goddamn hippies, right? He's just yelling right in his face,
Yeah,
and he
he's
starts
like,
crying.
out of here.
And
And
Ted
then,
starts crying.
And then he grabs the gun too. He slides, and I thought, oh shit, this is where it's about to go
I
down.
thought for sure,
And
too.
this is a good thing. This is another thing with Tarantino, man, is he'll throw you for a loop so many different times. He'll show you like these subtle tropes, like where you're like, okay, I see it coming. They're gonna shoot Rick Dalton.
Oh, yeah.
And this is where shit hits the fan. Sharon Tate's gonna run out. She's gonna get stabbed. Shit's gonna just go crazy, right? And he reaches for the gun, and then nothing happens. And it ends up being a really funny scene because afterwards, he's crying, and they're like, "Was that Rick Dalton?" Yeah. I love his stuff.
Yeah, it was
you know?
hilarious.
Yeah.
And it was the kind of thing where, like, we thought he was just going to go out and yell at him, but he just goes out and he just gives it to him.
Parades them with an entire
He is
like
a
2
mug.
liter thing, mug of
Or blender. It's a blender full of
margarita.
margarita mix. Yeah, and he's going out there and he's already pissed drunk.
Mm-hmm.
He's drinking it while he's running out there, and he's in just his
just
fucking,
in a robe.
Yeah, robe and like underwear. Yeah. Just this crazy guy who was running out of here. It's a nightmare for anyone that's
really
driving.
is, yeah.
But yeah, and just because they're driving this fucking jalopy, it's the loudest god because they
Oh
didn't
my
have any
God,
fucking money.
Pop, 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 pop. It was so loud. That car was thunderous. It's as bad as like a diesel truck.
But fuck, dude, I thought this was gonna be just the end. I thought, man, he was just gonna yell at him and give it to him. And they're just gonna turn around and be like,
Mm-hmm.
fuck this. But they end up going down the block and they end up saying that they're gonna just go for it anyways.
Yeah, they're
Or
camping
no,
out.
well, the girl, I can't remember the girl's name. The Asian chick, I can't remember what her name was or what her name is in real life. But she ends up convincing them to go and kill Rick Dalton because it's this whole thing of like he started out and his shows were violent, so they made us violent. So now we got to kill the people that make us wanting to kill. It's some backwoods fucking logic that didn't make a lot of sense. But I guess you're high on acid. You got an acid brain. You're like, this is working.
This is all just coming together.
So they go up, and like you said, Robin, she ends up forgetting her knife, and just he gives her the keys, where I think she was probably just going to run away. But Tex is so stupid, he's like, oh, take the keys.
Yeah.
And she ends up taking the car, and so now they're fucked, and they end up doing it anyways, I guess,
Oh, he was still all for it.
You make the trip
That didn't
out there.
change his mind
No.
even in the slightest. He goes, no, we're definitely still doing this.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy is a little too enthusiastic to slaughter people.
It was Susan.
Don't you think that would be a red flag? I mean, eventually you're hanging out with this guy and he's just
Well, they love it, man. At this
super
point, they're all
excited to kill
fucking, they're all
people.
for it.
It sounds interesting.
It was Susan Atkins, Linda Casabian, I don't know, Patricia Krenwinkel. Those were the three girls that accompanied Tex that night
Wow.
during it. But they parked outside and they're prepared to murder him. But they drive off. But then they end up walking up and going into Rick's house. Why Brad Pitt's character Cliff? He's out walking his dog.
Mhm.
And smoking that acid cigarette also. We
He
don't
is.
forget about that. And because he's ready to trip. Oh, actually, Cliff comes back first, goes in the house before they end up walking up there. Because remember, he goes in there and he gives his dog some food. That's when we start seeing he's fucking high. He
Yeah.
starts doing the whole hand thing.
Yep.
And he turns
Yeah,
the
the hand in
lights
the
on
kitchen
and it
thing, yeah.
blinds him.
He's like, oh.
Yeah. So it's not a good time. And this was worrying me. I'm like, is he going to be able to defend himself? Like,
I
this
didn't
is
think
not a
so
good
at all.
time.
I thought it was going to be a really funny moment, and especially when the scene got super tense. I'm like, he's dead.
Same. I thought it was going to be a really funny moment that was going to just turn really
A
quick.
Tarantino, like, ha ha ha,
Yeah.
boom, dead.
Yeah.
Real serious, fast.
But no, little do we know, it doesn't happen.
No.
He's getting high. He's feeding his dog. They end up breaking in. Tex breaks in one way, and another person breaks in the back.
And I gotta say, as far as breaking into houses, pretty good work.
Well, fuck,
You got
no one
someone
locked
in
the
the back-
door.
No, of course not. No, in the
It's
60s, no one
re-
locked their door.
It's
ever.
really easy when you can just walk in the front door,
These
because that's
things are
literally
true.
what they do. Remember, they
Uh-huh.
just walk in.
Yeah.
He's not locking shit back
Yeah,
then.
the back door was unlocked. The front door was unlocked. I mean, to be fair,
Every goddamn
Leo was
window-
in the pool, which I don't know how that chick going through the back didn't see him in the pool.
No, well, maybe she went through a side door or something.
Yeah.
I didn't know the layout. And he had a pretty nice big house too. And we barely talk about that, but that house, man. If you're gonna live in California, isn't that not the perfect fucking house to
It
live
definitely
in?
is.
Not too big, not too showy, but you're still surrounded by really famous people. That house now, I mean, is probably worth $12 million. But yeah, it was an awesome house. Yeah, they ended up breaking in, confronting Cliff, which, I mean, he's not someone you want to surprise, I feel like. You don't want to.
Did you hear Zach Baggins? And this is relative to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Zach Baggins, the guy from Ghost Adventures. Did you know he's buying the house for $1.8 million?
Buying that house?
Yeah, the Charles Manson house. Or, excuse me, the Sharon Tate house where she was murdered.
Oh. Why? Is he going to try to catch a ghost?
Probably. This is what he quoted. He said that
I'm sure he's
the
probably just
house has
living
very, very strong energy.
Oh, my God. He's probably just like, I got this house for a great deal. And
$2 million for the Beverly Hills? Hell yeah, that's a great deal in that neighborhood.
yeah. And that house is awesome. That house is better than fucking...
It's a beautiful home. I mean, the
house is better than
photos
Rick
are-
Dalton's house.
I know. I would. I mean, if I had $2 million, I'd buy it. I'm not
That's
superstitious
That's
about
not
that
bad
stuff.
at all.
No. No.
No, I would. I mean, yeah. I'm sure he probably was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. But he's just going to chill in that house. He's not going to catch a ghost. That's for damn sure.
No, hell no.
But, yeah, so... so they break in and Cliff recognizes him from the ranch.
Yep.
And now they're real fucking nervous.
Yeah.
And Tex, he's already like half crying from when he got yelled at earlier. He's already kind of really scared.
By Rick Dalton.
But he does come in and he does drop the line that he's the devil and he's here to do the devil's work with apparently he says
I love that.
he
'cause, like,
did.
Right afterward, because like, what the fuck was that? Because he's tripping on acid on top of that. Could you imagine being on acid? 3 random people break into a house, and then the guy gives him a line like that, like "I am the devil here to do the devil's
and
work."
you're just
like,
thinking,
because
because
he asked him.
he goes, "Are you real?"
Yeah, he goes, "Are you real?"
He goes, "I'm as real as can be," or he goes, "I'm as real as the devil," or something like that. Yeah, and he's like, "Yeah, it's very dramatic
It's
for
the
being
first
on
thing
acid."
I'd ask, though, man.
But yeah, and he recognizes him, and they get scared, and and I love the scene where he puts his finger guns up at Tex. He pretends he's gonna shoot him, and this is a scene where I thought he was just gonna get shot in the head and just end up dying.
Yep.
But it doesn't end up happening because Cliff has got a fucking awesome dog.
That
And
I would have
this
called a
dog-
little sooner. I mean, but then again, he was on acid. But man,
Yeah.
I would have called that dog right away because this dog is vicious.
And I got the feeling where he was. The whole thing is he's a war hero, and he knew immediately that these guys aren't fucking murderers. So I didn't think he thought he was in real. But once he saw that, he was actually going to go for the gun. And man, does that dog tear into you. It's a
love it.
long fucking take.
It's a very gruesome scene too.
Of course, Tarantino gets as realistic as possible with everything he does. And it's a long... He is just tearing... First, he sticks him on Tex.
Yep. Gets his arm.
Then
Rips that
then
shit
gets
to
his
shred.
fucking dick, I'm pretty sure,
Yep.
and goes
yeah,
in
it goes
for
up his
that.
leg, goes to his thigh, and then and then bites his dick. And the acting was really good here because I was like, man, I totally buy that this dude's in a lot of pain. And imagine the bite power. The square inch of a dog, especially a pit bull, biting you there. That'd be excruciating pain.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
things are popping that you don't want to pop ever. You never want to hear that sound.
Yeah.
And that's what you're feeling in the pit of your stomach when a dog like that attacks you.
But this whole, I was laughing so hard to this whole thing. It was just so ridiculous, and I was just cracking up. So he sticks the dog on Tex, and then he just a fastball of the fucking canned dog food right at that chick's, and it
Breaks
looks
her nose.
so damn real. She hits hard, and she just starts screaming. And the other lady, she's holding Rick Dalton's wife, so she's not doing anything right. But Yeah, and he just works her with that can of dog food. And I laughed so hard when he just started smashing the girl's face in
over and over
in every part of the house.
Yeah. Everyone in the theater in the movie part was laughing at that scene because it was hilarious.
People in my theater were just dying because it was just got so ridiculous. Because it was set up like early on that he's like he's the kind of person to take it very far, I guess, because
takes it very serious.
Yeah, because when he punched fucking Grogan, he just worked it, but he smashes that chick in every goddamn surface in that house.
It was so gruesome, but also so funny at the same time that you couldn't help but laugh at this.
Yeah,
and it wasn't like comical farce, like bad. It was just funny. Because this guy just kept smashing her over and over and over again, man.
Because he's this fucking killer badass, but he's also high on acid, so it's like a cartoon
even worse. Yeah.
So he's feeling like he's in a movie or a video game or something, and it's just perfect thing because it's like, oh, thank God, because you want these people to die because of who they're playing, and you want them to die in the worst possible way. Because I mean, without Tarantino's characters, they were going to go and do something horrible. So you're completely fine with it. You want it to be as gruesome as possible.
Totally.
And the chick that gets the can in the face, and then she gets attacked by the dog, and then she's a tough chick. So, man, she keeps getting up, and every time she gets up, it gets funnier and funnier. Yeah. Because she springs up and just starts flying her arms around.
Still the knife in hand too.
Yeah.
We gotta respect the commitment,
the grip
to murdering, because after that I would have dropped the knife.
And this whole fucking murder fest is going on inside, and Rick Dalton's outside in the pool, still
just
drunk
listening
as
to his
hell.
headphones, not even paying attention.
But she finally smashed it, and it's so funny when he realizes it.
What the hell?
Who the hell? And then he dives in, and it takes forever for him to get out of the pool.
And then he does get out of the pool. He goes to the shed, and what does he bring? What a great
could not,
callback.
man. I was just my sides.
Everyone was laughing hysterically.
Very early on, when he meets Schwartz, we got to kind of build it up. He meets Schwartz, Al Pacino's character, and he talks about how he saw a Rick Dalton double feature, and one was a Western or something like that.
Yeah, one was a Western, and then the other one.
And the other one is a World War II, where he played some over the top action hero, and that part itself was hilarious. Die, you Nazi bastards! It's such a
flamethrower,
and he's just
all
holding
the high
it forever.
officials. They're all burning. None of them are drop, stop, and roll or whatever.
Die. Someone ordered fried sauerkraut. It's just so
shooting line after line, just one-liners, man. One-liners galore.
And it goes back to, and it even shows him training, because he's like, trained for that thing for 3 weeks, and it's so funny. He's like, shooting it. Can you do something about the heat? And the guy's like, no, it's a flamethrower.
That was another dude. I laughed so hard at that.
The guy's like,
because
no,
that's probably something like an actor would have asked. Like, hey, can we turn the heat down? It's kind of uncomfortable. They're like, dude, it's a flamethrower.
It's a flamethrower.
It's real.
But yeah, so he ended up holding on to that, and he kept it into his fucking tool shed. And when he comes out, and it's like the super dramatic music, and he walks out, and he's just so prepared, like he's been waiting for it.
Yep.
Obviously, you have a flamethrower. I'm guessing that's all you're thinking about every single day.
Home intruder.
Please,
this is next level. You think a gun? Please get the hell out of here.
Please break into my house.
Flamethrower.
Please break into my house.
Please, because I'm gonna light you on fire.
But yeah, and he just fucking roasts her ass, and it's
so funny too, because she's in the pool, and all I was thinking, all you got to do is go underwater.
Oh, and she's just
just has no concept.
Not even this, but it shows. So she went through the fucking glass door after getting the shit beat out of her,
right? And the dog biting her and shit too. Yeah.
And then she pops up again in the pool, and she's just shooting shots in
the air.
But her face is just a mess. She's got glass in her throat and her eyes.
Oh man,
so she's not doing well.
Her pain threshold's pretty high right there.
And then on top of that, she gets burnt alive
to a crisp. Yeah.
And I love.
Well done.
It was that's the way to, if you're gonna kill a fucking Manson family member,
you gotta cook them. Yeah,
that's the only way to do it. It's the only way to make sure
it'll
they're
discourage future members of the family to join.
But yeah, and they end up just killing everyone, man, and that's the ending. And it goes on for probably 20 minutes. We bruised her, but it's a 20-minute scene. I mean, he's going around individually killing all these people in the worst possible way.
And I love it too because this is like one of those movies, and this is like a fun retelling of the story because this is the story I think deep down with all Americans we kind of wish would have happened.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like we would have wished that there was a guy like Cliff Booth who was able to kill these idiots, and then that would have been the big story. Oh, giant cult family tried to murder, Sharon Tate and all this, but, saved the day. So it's a cool retelling of it, too.
Oh, absolutely,
and it's kind of how he does with Inglourious Bastards, where he shits on the Nazis the whole time. He's shitting on the Manson family.
Oh,
You know what I mean? And it's like the whole purpose of this is like, and then boom, they all die. That's the alternative universe we all wanted to live in.
It's amazing. It's awesome. It's what we want to see. It's just... I mean, it seems so simple watching it,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, watching any Tarantino film, it just seems so simple. It's just a movie that he's literally just making a movie that he himself would want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it shouldn't be that difficult when directing a film or something. When just do something that, if you're gonna like it, then other people are gonna like it, and that's what Tarantino. He just makes films that everyone wants to see.
Yep,
it's amazing. But I love the ending after they all die and. Jay comes down from the Tates because they have no idea what's going on. And he's like, "Is anyone okay?" And Rick Dalton goes, "Well, not the hippies."
Yeah, not the hippies. Yeah, that was a great line. He's like, "But everyone else, yeah, they're fine."
He's like, "How?" Yeah, he asked him like, "Well, what happened?" He's like, "Well, I had a flamethrower, fried her to a crisp."
Just so casually, like.
And Jay's like, "Man, that's crazy." Yeah,
he's like, "Hey, you want to come up here and have a barbecue?"
Yeah, and then Sharon gets on the line, man, and you just know, fucking. It's the world we want to live in, and that's the thing we talked about earlier. But him getting called up, it's like getting called up to the big leagues.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like he was so worried about his career ending and whatnot, but then now that he's probably just gonna be he's gonna be all right.
Set for life, yeah. It's like getting in with Disney or Marvel. You're set for life.
And he's just so happy, even though this crazy thing where 3 people were just murdered or killed in his house, he's just super nonchalant about it.
Yeah.
I love when he's like, Amy, it's so cool when he comes down. He's like, I'm gonna go to the hospital with you. What room you in? And it just shows what good buddies they were and whatnot. But I love it, man. I thought it was awesome. I liked the little tiny. I connected this. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be connected or it's Tarantino film, so it probably is. But with Brad Pitt at the very end, he got stabbed in his hip. And that was like the story that he was telling him, that Rick Dalton was telling the little girl about. I remember he fell off the horse and got his hip broke and he couldn't do. And it kind of made the point where that whole story about the cowboy wasn't really about Rick Dalton. I thought it was more about Cliff Booth.
Cliff Booth.
Because, now he got stabbed in the hip. He's not stunting anymore.
No.
That's
not in the 60s. That medicine,
exactly.
They don't break surgery.
Absolutely.
Anyway, put you back together.
So and that was kind of what I connected for was Rick Dalton wasn't really the cowboy in this at all. Although he played a fake cowboy, the real cowboy was fucking Cliff Booth. I mean, that ending, that's a cowboy ending.
It is.
That's the go out on the fucking guns of glory. I mean, he didn't even die at the very end, but he'll be walking funny. He took a blade to the hip.
Took a little limp the rest of his life.
Yeah, but he'll always have a good friend, though. He'll
Yep.
always have old Rick Dalton.
Rick Dalton.
I loved it, man. What do you think about it? What was it? Everything you expected?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this film, and for 2 hours and 45 minutes, I was just entertained the whole time, and I totally love the nostalgic way he shot this film, with the way that he shot it. I mean, it was so crazy to see Leonardo DiCaprio in the way that like 60s TV was shot when he's at that Nazi concentration camp and he's playing the Air Force soldier.
We didn't talk about that.
It looked exactly like the 60s, like the way that they shot it, the cinematography that
that was the Great Escape where they just put him in for Steve McQueen.
Yes.
And that was a really cool thing where he's like, well, because we totally glanced over, but that was when they were talking about, he's like, because Great Escape was like, what's one of the greatest movies ever, And he almost got that role, and they even had him in it. And it was so funny with him being replaced with that role and just seeing kind of his take on it and how goofy it fucking was. But like you said, yeah, it was so funny to see him like that. It was awesome. Yeah. But yeah, the way they worked with the 60s and intertwining these characters and just fitting them in perfectly, it just felt very natural.
It did.
Cliff Booth, he goes on to one of those the list of Tarantino characters that are just fucking badasses, right?
Mm-hmm.
he's on there with Aldo and the Glorious Bastards and Django and stuff.
Which is also played by Brad Pitt, so it's kind of like, man, he gets the badass roles for sure.
That's true.
He's on his good list. He's on the Tarantino good list.
That's true. That's very true. Hopefully he's in now. And now we got to think about it. He's supposed to be doing the Star Trek film, so he might just get huge fucking names to be in a Star Trek film.
He could,
the first time ever, man. It'd be crazy, but yeah.
Yeah, I wonder who he will.
I don't know.
Cast for that. Closing
thoughts on this, Mason. Does it compare to any other Tarantino movies that you've seen? It's a little different for sure.
Yeah, as I brought up earlier, this was a different Tarantino film. I do not say that in a negative way because I thoroughly enjoyed this film. However, I feel like he is expanding his horizons. He's trying new things that we've never seen before in a Tarantino film. I was very, very, it wasn't what I expected at all, but that's actually, I was okay with the whole storyline, the film, the pacing of it. I thought worked for me altogether. I was thoroughly happy with this film. I love the acting. I mean, the chemistry between Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt was something really remarkable and incredible. And to bring up earlier our point, it is astounding to me that they've never co-starred together in a film.
Yeah,
because they're so good together. Margot Robbie's great as Sharon Tate as well. She really portrays her in an awesome way. Yeah, again, the storyline and everything took it a completely different way. And that's another thing that I really appreciate with this movie is like every single time I thought I had the movie figured out, they throw me for a loop. They surprise me. Every cliche that could have happened where he gets shot or this or that, it didn't happen. And then at the end of the story, it made me feel good. It made me feel like all of it was worth it in the end. So, are we doing grades?
Oh yeah,
right
let's
now?
fucking do it.
So for me, this movie gets a solid A from me.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I was really trying to go through and think about gripes or things that I was like, oh, I didn't like that, I didn't like this, but there was really nothing for me that stands out. So I have to be fair with it and say it gets a solid A.
Oh yeah, there wasn't a moment that I thought, oh, this wasn't needed. Or this, I mean, even in the first half, you can say, oh, there's not a lot going on story-wise. But there is. It was that whole breakdown of Leo's character and introducing us to Brad's character and whatnot. And like I said, I went away just from this film with a smile. Not because it had a happy ending, but it's when you see a film and it's just everything goes right, The cinematography, it's just the amalgam of fucking good filmmaking. So you walk away, if you're a fan of just good movies, you walk away happy because this is what a textbook good movie is.
Totally agree.
We talk about it. It was a little bit different from Tarantino, where the story wasn't driven just from the very get-go. It's still a story about these characters. Like if any of his movies they're just about these fucking characters and their lives, and we're getting a 3-day glimpse of what their lives are. And this one is kind of a 6-month period, but yeah, it's good dialogue, and that's kind of what it melts down to, what any Tarantino film does. But yeah, I loved it. It's probably my favorite movie of definitely the summer and definitely possibly the fucking year for sure. Yeah. And I give it an A also.
So what do you think as far as Oscars? Do you think in any shape, way, or form that you would nominate this at least for an Oscar? I mean, from the films that you've seen so far.
Oh, Best Picture for sure.
Okay.
Or Best Comedy. Will probably be in the Best Comedy this year. Yeah. It's going to be a comedy.
I think it could be a comedy, yeah, definitely. Because there were a lot of funny moments in this.
I think, you could honestly say that I think Tarantino does, some of the best comedy. I always laugh at every Pulp Fiction. I thought was hilarious, stuff like
Pulp
that.
Fiction's great.
Yeah, but yeah, I think for sure that it's gonna get nominated. It's gonna get nominated for sure. I think possibly Leo is gonna get nominated. I think that scene with him in the trailer is just.
And the one with
it's
the little
noteworthy,
girl too,
man.
She's like, that was the best acting I've ever seen.
And him breaking down, crying after he delivers the lines, and him delivering the lines in it's so, and just how emotional he gets after just this little girl who's a no one.
It just tells him that was the best acting she's ever seen. Well, she's 8. She probably hasn't.
You
seen
just know he
years
needed
and
the
years of
win.
acting.
He just needed the win.
He needed someone
to tell
say
him
that you're worth it. Yeah. Sometimes
Even
it's
though
all an
Cliff
actor
Booth was doing
needs.
that the whole time.
Yeah.
He was the best fucking guy ever. He kept saying, "Don't forget your Rick Dalton and whatnot." But yeah, man, it's definitely gonna get nominated. I think. I mean, do you disagree?
No, I don't. I think it should. I mean, unless we get like a slew of movies in November, December. But
And I think we should bring up too briefly that I think this movie was fucking needed, especially this summer has been a bust in my mind.
really, because I don't think the summer's been terrible. I feel like I'm going to the movies every week. There's a new movie coming out every week.
Well, yeah, you're going, but
yeah,
I mean,
but
we're
it's
going
not-
because
yeah, that's true.
you're going not because you're excited.
But
you're
I mean,
going
like
'cause you're going.
Midsummer was good. Like I thoroughly enjoyed that. I enjoyed
just
Spider-Man.
With the number of sequels, the number of reboots, the number,
And that's the
it's worse
frustrating
than any other
Yeah,
year. Would you
I get
not?
that.
Would you not?
I
say
would
that?
get that. As far as originality,
Yeah.
and original content, I
And
agree
this is a
with you.
film 100% original. I mean, it's
Definitely.
There's no. I mean, it's that. I think it's a breath of fresh air for sure. I think this summer has been with just how much with the reboots and everything, man. It's been I don't know. It's been kind of exhausting with just. I mean, not even that, but I don't even think we're thinking about this. Everything has been a sequel too. I mean, what's coming out this week? Hobbs and Shaw, sequel. I mean, it's
standalone.
There has
it's
been
a sequel.
how much original stuff has been out this summer? There's been 3 original movies that
I
we've
think
seen.
so. Yeah.
I think Art of Self-Defense, Midsummer, this.
Yep. The Art of I cannot wait for you to see that.
Have
Top
we-
3 films
yeah.
of the year.
But
in my opinion.
have we seen anything else that's been original that hasn't been a sequel?
I haven't. Not yet.
So that's crazy, man. That's crazy for summer. So
It is.
But I think this is needed. Tarantino could not have picked a better summer for this to come out for him, I think, because it's like I said, people are just going to flock, and it's his best opening of all time. It made
It made
40
5.3.
Made 5.3 the first. It made 40 million. I heard.
I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. I was talking about opening night. So on a
opening
Thursday,
night,
it made. But you're right. Also, for the entire weekend, it made the most it ever had as
40
well.
million,
But it
I
also
think, was the
made
most,
the
yeah.
most on opening night.
Just the first,
Yeah,
which
it
is
beat
awesome.
Inglourious Bastards, which was 1.9. This one on Thursday night was 5.3.
Yeah, which
so
is huge.
it more than doubled it.
It's good, man. This is and it shows that people want to go see these films.
Mm-hmm.
So make more of them. Make more original fucking content.
Totally agree.
But yeah. So I think it came out at a really good time for this kind of film. But I'm definitely gonna go see it again.
So am I.
100%. I have to go.
I want to see this one again. I want to see The Art of Self-Defense again.
Yeah.
There's
But yeah, definitely Oscar not worthy, at least in my opinion so far. We got movies coming out though.
We do. We got a lot coming.
movies coming out. We
do.
know the Joker. I hear is
Could get
they're
the old
teasing
Oscar
Oscars.
nod.
They're
Yeah,
teasing Oscars.
they are.
But this will come out, and this will be against comedies too. So I might have an easy road.
Could it? Yeah.
But you know, a comedy that's going to come out that's going to be really good is that one where they go to China and the grandma is dying. They don't tell her.
Yes. Kind of like a dry humor comedy.
That's coming out. I think.
Dark comedy.
I think that's coming out this week.
No, it's
It's called Everything something. Like Everything Else or something.
it's called The Farewell.
Oh yeah, that's
The
it.
Farewell. Yeah.
Yeah, when's that coming out?
I don't know. I should see. The Farewell is coming out July 19th.
Oh, it's already out.
How's it already out?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure I saw it at
July 19th, initial release.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw it at
In
AMC
Canada,
when I was there.
Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, and that has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes
It
right
does.
now. So I think this is definitely one that I think this is going to be
It's got 168 counts.
Yeah. And this is going to be another comedy. So this is going to be, I mean, they're going to call it a comedy. It's definitely going to be sad.
Oh yeah, the genre is comedy drama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Dark comedy, my guess.
yeah, and we haven't seen that. We got to go see that.
No, we haven't. That's another A24. They always put out good shit.
And it looked amazing just from the trailer. It looked amazing. But do we have anything else on Once Upon a Time? It'll be
that's it.
It'll be another 3 years at least
until we get another that Star Trek film.
till we get another Quentin Tarantino film. Is that crazy?
It is, but you know what? the type of movies he puts out, I'm willing to sacrifice every year for the good movies that we do get from him.
It's worth the wait.
It is worth the wait. It's always worth the wait with Quentin. So
I know I don't know if I would say with anyone else directing right now, but yeah, it's definitely, you're not mad when it comes around. I'll tell you that.
No, you're not.
But,
Alrighty.
Yeah. Well, all right. Close us out.
Okay, so you guys can find us on YouTube. Type in "Have You Seen It?" "Have You Seen It?" podcast. We are the Angry Popcorn Guy in the director chair. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and like this video. You can follow us on social media. Twitter, Seen It Podcast. Cash is on Twitter. That's just Cash. Instagram, Have You Seen It? SCENE. Facebook, Have You Seen It Podcast. You can find our podcast on audio formats on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, anywhere you can find podcasts, guys. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Kraus. And until next time.
Bye.